Hello there, this is Only One Kenobi, Only One. I'm just doing a reaction video to some more images I've seen of Vintage Collection 2 stuff coming through for 2018. It's fast approaching. I've got some new thoughts on it. I did do a video the other day where I looked at the changes in design that I've noticed, but I've noticed a few more things. I want to discuss a few extra things. Firstly, I'd like to give credit to Red Leader 1. He's the only reason I saw any of these images. So obviously Malcolm is hot on the press, but there's a few things I just wanted to pass comment on. Firstly, as I say, the main things I've noticed, as mentioned in my last video, are the changes in logo design from the original release of Rey that was seen at Celebration. And I've also noticed that the bubbles on all of the figures that I've seen are wide. And I'll discuss that in a bit more detail later, but I didn't quite necessarily understand why they were wide. Firstly, going back to Star Wars Celebration, Rey from Force Awakens was revealed at the Hasbro panel, and it was sort of at that point we all found out that the Vintage Collection would be returning in 2018, which was for myself a very exciting moment. I was very pleased to hear that it was coming back. That was followed by, I suppose, other conventions, and I really don't know what was what where things were first seen, but I'm pretty certain that this image now was the first thing I saw, where we saw not only Rey but a few other characters: Kylo Ren, Stormtrooper, Dr. Aphra, and of course the original trilogy Rebel Soldier, which I have a video on that as well. But again, you're seeing the first design, I suppose, of Hasbro's logo designs for The Force Awakens, which was done in the Empire Strikes Back font. Now they've subsequently changed that now. Also, I suppose it was at the same convention, because this image sort of matches the previous one in terms of the angle of whoever took the photo. We saw some Rogue One characters also in line to be released. That was Jen Erso, Death Trooper, Cassian Andor, and of course the Tank Trooper Soldier, whatever he is called. I'm sorry about that. Then we saw these. This was the first evidence that they had redesigned the cards yet again. We have a new Rey and a new Kylo and a new Stormtrooper design. The Jen Erso one seems to be the same as the... No, it's also changed for the previous. And then, of course, the Rebel Soldier is never going to change because they are using the 80s image for that, which is great to see that come out for the first time since the 1980s. Then I saw these new images, and it sort of is proving now that this is the final design now for Rey. So as I have commented on before, I do like this new logo for The Force Awakens. I actually prefer that to them using the Empire Strikes Back font, which is slightly chunkier. Now they're using the same style or lettering or font or whatever you want to call it, presentation style, as they did for The Phantom Menace, and also I think maybe even Revenge of the Sith, which is nice because, as I say, it follows a kind of a continuity in style there. What I don't understand is why the bubbles are all so wide. If I move on to the next slide, we'll see this Jen Erso here and Snoke. Now, obviously Snoke's a big figure and he would need a wide bubble maybe, but Jen Erso, why is she in a wide bubble? I don't understand. Same with the Stormtrooper. All of them seem to be in wide bubbles. I don't know if they're packed with accessories we can't see. But going back to the previous Vintage Collection, figures like Aurra Sing and also General Grievous were packed in wider bubbles. That's because they were either larger figures or they had extra accessories. Like Aurra Sing had a kind of a case full of lightsabers and yada yada. I think even some of the pod racers like Rats Tyrell, they all had wider bubbles, but the rest of them had a standard size. Like, for example, this Jen Erso, she just looks a bit too small for the bubble size. But anyway, that's just an observation I've made, and I wanted to bring it forward into this video because I wondered if you had noticed the same. The rest of the stuff looks really good. I'm not a massive collector of vehicles, but it's nice to see the tank there. If you're going to put anything on a vintage card, then Rogue One fits that like a glove, because Rogue One, of course, ties in very closely to Episode 4 and A New Hope, and the original trilogy closer than any of the recent films. That brings us to this now. I saw this in a second video by Red Leader 1, where he was showing us some more stuff that's come out. And this, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't that interested in seeing, to be honest, because it's all stuff from the Solo movie, but I don't like the fact that except for Dr. Aphra, by the way, I don't like the fact that they're releasing figures for stuff we haven't seen before. You know, the film hasn't even come out. I can understand why they're doing it. They're doing it because the film will be out around about the time the Vintage Collection is released, I suppose. But has it earned its right to be put on a Vintage card? Well, in my mind, not yet. Plus, I'm desperate to see what other figures they're going to be releasing from the original trilogy, and I know a lot of the people who follow my channel are also interested in that. There's other things on the list that are more of a priority. I didn't have as much of an issue of them bringing out, Force Awakens figures on Vintage card backs, and also Rogue One, because they're going to be repacks of the Black Series stuff, which is fair enough. It's due that upgrade to a Vintage card because they've got the figures there in waiting. They've already been made. But to have all these other figures now pouring out already, I mean, it's like we've got to wait. People like myself, original trilogy fans, have got to wait for that stuff to come out now. So, I know, I'm not grizzling at all completely. I do like the look of this new stuff, and of course I'll be buying it, but it's just when the original... I just want to know when the original trilogy stuff is coming out in full force. Now then, as it's probably apparent to a lot of people who follow my channel, I don't have a massive collection of 6-inch figures, but here are a few. If I saw that Tarkin hanging on the shop shelf, I'd be buying it. Figures that are really, really important to me, or significant characters that I like, I'll buy in the 6-inch, but I don't go out of my way to get all of them. In fact, I've got very little. I like to stick with one size, 3.75, all the way. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. It's going to be exciting. We've seen images from the Vintage Collection 2 going back a while now at various conventions. I don't ever attend, I just see stuff that people post online, photographs they take, so I much appreciate your help on spreading the news on what we're going to get. Thank you very much again. This has been Only One Kenobi, Only One, out.